Good Monday, makers. Today we're looking at 10 different canopies made out of EMT conduit, maker pipe, and other materials. Let's jump in and check them out. First up is this one from Rudy, and this is a 10 by 20 shelter that he made for a 1965 Shasta that he was remodeling. And it's a pretty simple canopy in terms of the overall construction. It's just a pretty much a rectangular, just cube shape. And as he said, it's 10 by 20. And you can see it's 10-foot pipes here in the front sections of the cube. And then the side walls are 20-foot, which is just two 10-foot sections joined together. And I think he used the off the shelf couplings, or actually, no, sorry, he used 180-degree connectors, as you can see here. So it looks like every 5 foot or so, there's a 180-degree connector, and maybe 5 foot there, 10 foot that span, and then 5 foot on the other end. And then that allows you to have a vertical going up because we usually recommend every 4 or 5 feet to add a vertical pipe just to support the overall frame. And so that's what he did here. He didn't do that on the front, obviously, because he needs to be able to pull the Shasta in and out if need be. But we actually did an interview with Rudy. He talked about the whole build, including the canopy and the actual build out and restoration of the Shasta, which is really cool. That's on the channel, so you can check that out if you're interested. But this is a great canopy to get some inspiration from if you want to do something similar. You have maybe a trailer or a vehicle or something like that that you want to cover up. And he lives out west, so I don't think he has to worry too much about snow load. But having a flat roof, you do want to be careful if you have something like this over top of a vehicle. You don't want snow to weigh it down and then fall on the vehicle or whatever. But he's out in the west, so doesn't have to worry about it too much. As you can see, it's flat. He has this probably 10 by 20 sunshade that's secured. It looks like with zip ties or ball bungees. But this is a great canopy or shelter from Rudy. As you can see, really simple, just a pretty basic rectangular cube frame with just some bracing throughout with T connectors and things. But just a really great job from Rudy. Next up, we've got a build from Steven. And this was a birthday party that they had at their home. And they wanted to do, or they had a live poolside band, which is awesome. Must have been a fun party. And they wanted to provide shade and covering for the poolside band. They were going to be on this platform here or on this, patio. So they just built this canopy to provide some shade to the band. And so they did, it was four verticals, as you can see, just one, two in the back, and then two in the front. I think maybe it's just resting on the stone here. Maybe it's drilled in a little bit. Kind of hard to tell from the shadow, but I think it's just resting on top. But you could, drill down into the stone if you wanted to, if you wanted to be more of a permanent solution as opposed to temporary, as I think this was. But it just got the four verticals that go up, and then they're using, it looks like T connectors or 90-degree connectors in the corners to basically create that cube structure. And then they've got some T connectors going across to support the frame or to support the sunshade. And then they've got 45-degree bracing here, and they use T connectors to add kind of an overhang on the front, just because it looks like the sun will eventually be coming in from that side, which would be direct sunlight on the band. So having this front kind of sun visor, if you will protect the band even more. So that's great, and it looks like an awesome canopy. Here we can see ball bungees to secure the sunshade or the tarp where there's grommets. Basically, they're just like normal bungee cord, except they have like a ball in the end, and you just loop them around, and they work really great for securing different shade materials, as we can see here. Looks fantastic. I just now noticed something different that I haven't seen before when I've looked at this build is they have the telescoping clamp here, the one that we have on the site, and basically they've got half-inch EMT coming out of it. So I would imagine this allows them to, telescope these back legs and adjust the height if they need to, which is cool. That's something great to incorporate if you're doing a canopy or something on uneven ground, or if it's going to be moved to like different campsites or whatever. Maybe you need to adjust the height at different times. That's a good thing to incorporate and have a good solution for adjustable legs. And actually, this week on the channel, we have a video where we accidentally made a telescoping clamp. You'll learn more about that on Saturday when we release that video. But I think it's a little bit stronger of a solution than the plastic ones that we have on the site. So stay tuned for that. But this is a great canopy from Steven. Awesome job. Thanks so much for sharing that with us. Next up is a boat lift canopy. So we can see here that Nathan has this boat, and this is a boat lift, to get it out of the water. And he built a canopy because I imagine the boat just stays here until it's being used again, maybe even for a winter or a few months at a time. So he built this canopy to basically provide shade and cover to this boat while it's being stored, and it looks really awesome. It's got a really aggressive, peak to it, as you can see there. And the way he achieved that was doing, long rib pole in the middle. Then he's got 9-degree connectors attached to that with the pipes going down to the sides, and then he's got the horizontal pipe going all the way around, connected in the corners with looks like 90-degree connectors. And then at the bottom, he's using T connectors to achieve this angle, which is a great technique. And it looks like a lot, but it's really not too complicated. It's just 5 90-degree connectors that basically just send the two pipes going down, T connectors at the bottom to connect them to the bottom horizontal pipe. And it's just a really great technique. Then you can see here that he added some bracing, which is always a good idea when you're doing something this large, which he did that with 45-degree connectors to send, horizontal pipe from one side to the other, about halfway up the triangle. Then he added a vertical from the bottom pipe here up to the middle pipe that he just added. And then he's got some more 45-degree bracing just to kind of reinforce this corner here. And looks awesome. He did the same thing on the other side, but also looks like a nice place to be, beautiful place to hang out. And it's a great build and a great technique. Here we can see it all put together with the tarp over top of it. And this is another technique for securing materials. This actually has a paracord or cable kind of weaving in and out of the frame. As you can see, it's wrapped around the pipe, through the grommet, wrapped around the pipe, through the grommet, and so on and so forth, all the way around until it's secured and pulled tight. And that material looks nice and secure up there. So that's awesome. Great build from Nathan. Thanks so much. Thanks so much for sharing that. Next up is a build from Greg, and this was shared in the Maker Pipe Facebook group. And this is a great one. This is a trailer that they have, and they move it around for an outdoor event, they said. And basically, they secured a canopy to this trailer using some of the off-the-shelf flanges. I think we get a close-up here. They actually bolted the same method that we saw from Susan earlier. This is the galvanized pipe flange bolted to the floor with a just a nut and bolt securing it there. And they've got the connector off the shelf conduit connector screwed into that with the piece of conduit coming out of it. And they did that for a big portion of the pipes that are secured, the verticals that are secured. And they also have, looks like a piece of wood that's secured back here using, like 2x4s going down into the slots in the trailer. And then they use U-bolts to secure the verticals to that piece of wood. And that's a great technique for doing that. And then they've got, from the verticals, they added some cross bracing in the back here using, looks like T connectors on the outside. And then every few feet, as we suggested earlier, it's a good technique to do to add reinforcement. Just basically add a 180, keeps your span going all the way down, but also allows you to add verticals, which is a good technique to keep in mind when you're doing any kind of large structure like this. And then it looks like in the front, they, off those back verticals, they added pipes that run to the front and connected those with T connectors. And then they added some bracing here with, it looks like more T connectors and 45-degree connectors. So a lot of connectors in there, but looks great. And they said they're really happy with it and it worked out great for their event, which is awesome to hear. Then it looks like they've got the material secured. It doesn't look like it's got grommets all the way around it, maybe just in the corners. So I think it's just pulled tight in the corners there, which works, just fine for something like this. If you need a quick canopy for an event that you can, put up and take down. So looks fantastic. Thanks so much for sharing that, Greg. We really appreciate it. Next up is this one from Douglas. This is a porch cover said to keep me dry. Two 14-foot trusses with a Lexan roof. And as you can see here, it's doesn't cover the whole entire patio, but more of just a small area. As I was saying, maybe you want to be able to step out here and just, look outside on your property, or just, have someplace dry for packages to be delivered, whatever it may be. And so he's got this, looks like some wooden beams, maybe for an existing, roof structure or something that may have been here. Not entirely sure, but basically just built off of these wooden beams that he had, and built, he said, two 14-foot trusses, and basically just got adjustable angle connectors in the corners to basically create this sled or triangle shape here on both sides, and then they connect together, I think, with the long horizontal pipes. Then he just added some 45-degree braces and some T connectors to basically build out that truss shape. And it looks like it worked out great. As you can see here, it's got a dry spot here during the rain. This is an awesome photo to kind of showcase this. And then he said, what were those called? Lexan, I think he said. Let's see. Yeah, Lexan roof, which is this material here. If you're looking to do, some kind of material besides a sunshade or plastic tarp or something, these kind of rigid plastic roof panels are good. We've seen a few people use them, and generally you can just use a self-tapping screw. As you can see, there's a little bit of a bolt head there, which just goes through the material and into the pipes. I've never used that material. I've only ever used the metal ones, so I don't know how easy it is for those to crack when you're adding a screw through it. But I think it does pretty well. But yeah, that's a great technique to keep in mind if you want to do a cover for the walkway, or just a general cover that you want for your front porch. So thanks so much, Douglas, for sharing that. Really great to see. Next up is a build from Mickey, and this is a canopy over a backyard deck. And this was right around the time that we released the flanges, the rigid flange, and that's how he secured. Actually, no, this is a different build. I'm thinking of another one. Okay, this is still a good one. This is actually a great technique. If you have a wooden railing around your front porch, or whatever patio, whatever you may have, as you can see here, and you're comfortable with drilling through it, you can basically just get a 1-inch hole saw, drill through the wood, and have your conduit just run completely through that, and then secure it even more by either using a flange here at the base that holds the pipe whenever it goes all the way through down to the floor, or as you can see, there's some conduit hanger straps, which just add some security. You can also use 1-hole or 2-hole straps. But this is a great technique to keep in mind if you're okay with drilling through the wood, because this will add a really strong connection for the pipe and allow it to pass through. It also gives it a nice look because it's clean around the edges, and as you can see, the pipes, the verticals just go through the wooden rail all the way around the outside. Then it just goes up and has a triangle shape at the top. Can't see exactly. Oh yeah, here it is. The verticals go up, and there's a T connector that basically adds a pipe horizontally. Then there's some pipes that come off of it to go up at an angle using T connectors, which is a great technique we talk about a lot, where basically the T connector is often just shown, as a T connector, but it also works great if you need it to like grab onto a pipe, and then you can swivel it and create different angles that way, which is what they did here to create the angled roof. Then it looks like there's 45-degree bracing to just add some, security and strength overall to the build, which is a really great thing to keep in mind. And then they said they're going to be ordering a custom tarp or a custom sized boat canvas, but in the meantime, they've got a tarp secured, and it's just pulled tight over the top with bungees. It also looks like there might be some cattle panels over top of the frame, which is a good thing to keep in mind to reinforce a frame like this. So really great job. Thanks so much, Mickey, for sharing that. Next up is a build from Josh, and this was a workshop that he has. He repurposed a shipping container into a workshop. Here we can kind of glimpse inside, or get a glimpse inside. It looks really awesome. But last year he built a canopy for the front of it just to provide shade. If he's working inside and the sun's coming in from this angle, can warm up really quickly. So he added the shade so he could keep the door open and not have to worry about, too much sun coming inside. And the way he did it was really unique. He actually used the end piece of the adjustable angle connector, as you can see here, and then custom made some brackets that attach to the shipping container. And then the end clamps are secured to those flanges with a bolt going through into the bracket, and that's a really great technique, for different things, not just canopies. You can use those end clamps to basically add a mounting point to the end of conduit pretty easily, and then use it for something like this. And he's got two pipes. The one on the top is longer than the one on the bottom, as you can see here, to create the angle. And then the bottom pipe kind of comes up as a brace. And there's also a pipe that goes from one side to the other to brace it as well. And then I think for the actual method to secure the material was clever too. He just pulled this sunshade material tight and then used a eye hook that goes inside of the end of the pipe. It just hooks on there, and then you can move the nut here to basically pull it tight. And that's really clever, really smart, and it just looks fantastic on the front of the shipping container. So thanks so much, Josh, for sharing that. He has a TikTok I think it is Two Tool Designs, and he actually did a video on this, so definitely check that out if you're interested. Next up, we've got a build from Mindopod, and this is a freestanding support. I really like this one. As you can see, or you kind of really can't see, but there's a pipe underneath this couch that is creating an L shape here, and then off of that, they've created verticals that go up, and then basically repeated the L shape at the top here. They've secured the pipes to the wall on the side of their house, and then basically they've got one of those, I forget what they're called. It's a not like a star, but it's like a tri-point triangle sunshade. And basically they've just got, one on this corner here, one in the back corner, and then one on this corner here. And that just, kind of spreads out that material and drapes it over. As you can see, they've got it connected. It looks like using just some carabiners and I think just a bolt going up, maybe an eye hook in the end of the pipe. Yeah, I think that's what it is. There's a threaded pipe insert with the eye hook going up, and then the carabiner just clips onto that. That's a great technique. And as you can see, they added 45-degree bracing where needed to support these horizontal spans. And I thought it was connected to the house, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's just, they did say freestanding, so I guess it's not connected to the house. But they've got that material draped, from one corner to the other side. And as you can see, it's providing great shade for the seats underneath, which is awesome. Looks like it's working out awesomely. So thanks so much for sharing that. It's a great technique. Here you can kind of get a shot of the underneath behind the couch of the frame, and they just added more 45-degree bracing where needed, which is a great thing to do. And here's a kind of a drawing or sketch-up of the whole thing, where you can see this L shape here that sits against the wall in the corner with a pipe that comes out and adds acts as a small leg. There's 45-degree bracing as we saw, and just overall a really great structure. So thanks so much for sharing this, Mindopod. Really appreciate it. Next up is a build from Claudia, and this is a shade cover for plants. Said that they live in Phoenix, Arizona, and they wanted to protect plants, as you can see. So they built this kind of freestanding L-shaped shade, and you can't really see because of the tree here, but this actually goes all the way down into the corner and then extends out over here. It looks like they've got some potted plants, they've got some garden bed, and they've got different things they want to protect from the Arizona sun. And the way they did this was really clever. Just doing an L shape with looks like verticals every maybe I don't know 5, 10 foot. It looks like maybe like 10 foot. They got a vertical going up. It looks like they have some of the flanges at the very bottom of the vertical, and there's just rocks kind of over top of that. They just buried those kind of feet in the ground to hold the verticals in place. And then it looks like in the corners, they're using 90-degree connectors, as we've seen a lot, just to make that rectangle shape. And they've got the pipes going all the way down into the corner. And I think they connect T connectors in the corner to achieve the L shape. Let's see if we can find it here. Kind of hard to see. But yeah, here it goes all the way into the corner. And they've got T connectors that branch off and kind of continue the L shape. And then it looks like they've got some different bracing throughout with T connectors and pipes. And then they just got the sunshade material kind of hanging over the top, and they've got zip ties holding it in different places where they could. They even added lights, which looks really nice at night. And just overall, a really great looking sunshade, and it's protecting the plant, which is what she was after. So, really great to see. Thanks so much, Claudia, for sharing that. Looks like it's doing a great job. Next up is a build from Randy, and this is year 3. If you haven't seen his previous years, basically every year he puts this up, I think through the winter, and he lives in the Pacific Northwest. They get a lot of rain there, but basically he just built this canopy that attaches to their house using different solutions. I think he's used some Bimini connectors in the past, which created an angled pipe coming off of it. And he shares that hack a little bit more detail in previous posts. So definitely check that out if you're interested. But he's got it up for the 3rd year, and basically this is a great one to keep in mind because of the simple or simplicity of the structure. Even though it's really large, he's got 3 verticals going up that are secured to the railing, going all the way down, as you can see here. He's got rubber pipe feet on the bottom, which is a great thing to add as a foot if you need something like that, so it's not touching the ground or slipping on the ground. That rubber really helps a lot with that. Then he's got some, cross pipes with T connectors, just adding support where needed. And then we can see that the plastic, I think he uses like a poly reinforced tarp, is just pulled tight with ball bungees, and then he's got lights draped around the outside of the frame, and it just looks really awesome. Thanks so much, Randy, for sharing this in year 3. Glad to see it's working out well for you still. Looks fantastic. That is all the builds I have for you this week. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want to see more canopies and sunshades or awnings, definitely check out the different community topics that we have so you can get ideas and inspiration. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you in the next video.